everyone, this is Diamond Girl 34 and welcome to another vlog. Help! So today we are doing another real world video slash this is a vlog basically, because vlog is a shortened version of video blog, so this counts. Today I am going to be roasting myself with my my terrible book I wrote when I was like 10 called When the Tide Comes In, which is actually quite a good name. So the book is about mermaids, and the main character, believe it or not, I named Cleo. I swear I had not seen H2O, Just Dead Water. I didn't even know it existed. Do not take me to court, please. 10-year-old me had no idea. It was pure coincidence. And it's crazy. I didn't even realise it till like a couple of years ago when I was watching H2O, when it was on Netflix, not a sponsor. So basically, this book is really terrible. Unfortunately, some of the plot holes aren't there anymore, because I had the sense when I was like 12, so last year, not long ago, to kind of remove some of the plot holes, but most of them are still there. So, one of the biggest plot holes is a lot of the characters have backstories that I thought up. I came up with these backstories, and then they're literally never mentioned again. Like, ever. Let's get into this. I'd have ripped myself up. 10-year-old me, prepare yourself. When the Tide Comes In. Chapter 1. Cleo Evans. Her full name is Cleopatra. Yeah. Cleo Evans ran down from her house to the edge of the sea and up onto a high rock. "It's so good to be back," she said. Cleo breathed the sea air and smiled. And with that she did a full swallow dive off the rock and into the water. Thank you, Lara Croft, for teaching me what a swallow dive was. In 2 seconds her legs had transformed into her tail. Cleo had a scruffy bob that swished around as she swam, and an orange tail that sparkled in the light. Artistic wording. Cleo looked around and saw a mermaid with long, wavy brown hair, blue eyes, and tanned, peachy skin coming towards her. Peachy skin. "Sky!" she shouted. There's a lot of shouting where it shouldn't be. She hugged Sky. "So has anything happened while I was away?" asked Cleo. That was a typo. "Well," said Sky, "there are 2 new mermaids, Flame and River. They moved here while you were away." They talked a while before Cleo left to find some of her other friends. Sky doesn't get much talking time. Cleo swam towards a mermaid with soft blonde curls and pretty violet eyes. "Leia, there you are!" Cleo swam up to the surface and looked at Leia. "What's wrong?" she asked. Leia pointed and said, "I don't know, but they kind of look like someone you know." Cleo followed Leia's finger towards the shore, then gasped. "My parents are looking for me," she said. "They don't know I'm a mermaid." As if Leia wouldn't know that. Got a little hint for you guys. I just put that in so that the people reading would know that they didn't know. I'm so good at sneaking backstory in. Cleo looked at Leia and sighed. "Sorry, Leia, I gotta go." Leia nodded. Cleo hugged her friend and shouted bye to Sky. "Bye, Sky!" And with that, she swam to shore. Cleo's parents were looking for her, worried. "Cleo, Cleo, where are you?" Cleo dived behind a rock and lay there in the sun. Her tail dried and became her normal legs. She peeked over the side of the rock and brushed herself down. She ran to her parents, pretending nothing was up. Her parents sighed. "Phew, there you are. Come on, Cleo." Love it. Chapter 2. By the request of Cleo herself, here is a bit of backstory. That old trait of pretending that the writer knows the character. Love it. Cleo's father had been a merman. He'd fallen in love with Cleo's mother, and because he could have legs or a tail, he had never told her that he was a merman. Merman? They had married, and when they had a little girl, it was Cleo. Cleo was a mermaid because her father had been one. Her father died 3 years later, and when Cleo's mother remarried, there was no one to tell anyone anything. Except Cleo, of course. But she didn't. The most confusing way of explaining the backstory. There must have been some kind of simpler wording you could have used. Cleo had another friend, Skipper, but he wasn't really a mermaid, in the sense that he never went in the ocean after his parents died. Too many happy memories, he said. Here's what I'm saying about the characters with dense backgrounds that are not explored further than a very insensitive reveal that his parents died. It's great, really. Also, and here's like a very fast fix of this. So here we go. The next day, Cleo was walking out of her house when she saw Skipper. "Skipper!" She ran over to him. "There you are!" She smiled. "Still not going in the water, I guess." How to be insensitive, Cleo. Cleo was holding a glass of water and sipped it every now and again. Way to set things up. "Do you miss your tail, Skipper?" she asked him. Everyone's so insensitive in this world. Skipper shrugged. "Ever since my parents died, I haven't really loved the ocean as much as I used to." Oh, okay. Cleo shielded her eyes with the sun from her hand. Cleo was about to leave when a seal splashed about a mile away and startled her. She spilt the water on both of them. Whoop! "Oh, great," she groaned. She waved the glass, now empty, angrily at the seal before the water worked its magic. Skipper's legs deciphered first, then Cleo's. "We gotta get out of here before anybody sees," she squealed. "We gotta get out of here before anybody sees!" Cleo and Skipper crawled on their tummies to a rock, the same rock Cleo had dried in the day before. Their tails dried in the hot August sun and became legs. Cleo got up and sighed. "That was a close one," she said. Skipper was still sitting down. "I kind of forgot how pretty my tail looked." He looked up at Cleo, smiling. And to the complete surprise of Cleo, Skipper got up and jumped into the water, screaming, and his mystical blue tail splashed in the waves. "I completely forgot what it was like," he shouted. Cleo's amazement changed to happiness as she realized Skipper was in the water. She jumped in after him, and together they swam down to the water world of Oceania. The name of the mermaid city was originally Aquileia, but it looked like this. Or like that, or some weird way of spelling it of 10-year-old me. And people always said Aquileia, and I was like, no thanks. Here's another little plot point that is completely like overlooked and fixed within one chapter of being introduced. Skipper laughed and joked with Cleo as they swam down to the bottom of the sea. Soon they arrived at Leia's home. Leia looked in the mirror. She sighed. "Maybe I should." Cleo and Skipper arrived at Leia's house, just in time to hear the last sentence. There was only one sentence. "Should what, Leia?" they asked. "Oh, hi! Skipper, I haven't seen you in ages." Leia hugged Skipper, then remembered what she'd been saying. "Anyway, I was thinking maybe I should cut my hair." Anticlimax much. She smiled nervously. Cleo smiled. "That's a nice idea. My mum could do it for you." Then she looked up, gesturing towards the surface. "Though you would have to use your legs." Leia never really went to the shore. Her family, home and friends were in the ocean, of course, with the exception of Skipper, Sky and Cleo. Leia smiled a nervous sort of smile and said, "Well, if your mum can cut my hair, then we could make an exception." "Good!" smiled Cleo. You see, I could have done something like maybe later one of her friends like gets in some kind of trouble and she like makes a split second decision to like run out of the water and save them or something. But no. Gotta love it for the haircut. Then Leia's watch beeped. Sorry, but I have to go. My mum wants me, she bit her lip. She got some kind of house arrest thing? While all this was happening, two siblings, a mermaid and a merman who'd moved to the beach while Cleo was away, were standing on the shore. Flame stood next to River. It's been a long time since we went into the sea, Flame commented, blowing a strand of hair out of her face. River nodded. Yup, it has. He ran into the water, the little wave swirling around his feet as his legs vanished, to be replaced by a yellowish golden-coloured tail. Flame followed, her own tail appearing, silver in colour. Flame and River swam through the sea. Now I know what you're thinking. Wow, that last bit was actually pretty good. Yeah, that's the bit I didn't write. Let me explain. I had an account on this old game called Moshi Monsters. Oh yes.
Hi, my didgeridoo.
Well, they had these forums, and on there, people were doing this thing called roleplay. Whew, what? This was my first introduction to roleplay. So I was like, what is this thing? And I decided to create this mermaid roleplay. Shoot. And people started commenting on it. Ooh, I'm famous! Obviously, this was after I'd had like a rocky introduction to roleplay where I just kind of barged in on a roleplay where you had to be accepted. And someone mentioned it. They were like, Poppycat was never accepted, by the way, guys. Are you not like noticing this just now? And I was like... Anyway, I was getting along better with it, and so I decided to start making my own. And this was one of them, a mermaid roleplay. And I thought, you know what? This is like a good plot for a book. So yeah, most of these characters, someone's out there like, I need to get some copyright on these. Because when I published this book, those people who are like probably like my age now, whether they were like 6 when it started, and were like, this seems familiar. So yeah. Also, I had to like translate the whole beginning from roleplay language, because you know some people roleplay with asterisks. I don't now, and I really hate it when people do that, because it's hard to convey emotions in asterisks. So I had to like translate asterisks roleplay language into book language, and it would have been like, asterisk runs down from her house to the edge of the sea and up onto a high rock. Asterisk. It's so good to be back. Asterisk. Breathes in and smiles. Asterisk. Rara XD. Chapter 5. Pretty empty, River commented. Can't see anyone. Leia bumped into River. Sorry. That's okay, they shouted as Leia swam away again. River stared after her. Flame looked at him. In love after 10 minutes, laughed Flame. They continued swimming. The first love story in my books that I ever wrote. Sky, Skipper and Cleo were laughing together as they swam through the streets of Oceania. They didn't see Flame and River swimming up behind them. Flame recognised Sky, and so did River. They weren't sure who the other two were. There's someone, said Flame. Hello, said River casually. Sky turned around, frowning. Then she smiled when she saw that it was River and Flame. Hi, how are you? Smiled Sky. Then, seeing Skipper and Cleo's blank expressions. Who dis? Oh, right. This is Flame. River needs no introduction. Cleo shook Flame by the hand and looked at her copper-brown hair. It came to her shoulder blades and floated slowly around her head and shoulders. She also had big grey eyes that twinkled. Skipper also shook her hand. And River, said Sky. Cleo shook River's hand also. He had short copper-brown hair, grey eyes that also twinkled, though in a more boyish way. Gotta get that in there. And was the same height as Flame. Skipper shook his hand too. Cleo swam back a few yards Let me guess, she said. Related? Flame laughed. Twins, she said. We saw someone today. She was in a hurry. Do you know her? Asked River. Flame rolled her eyes. You'll have to give them more of a description than that. She turned to Cleo. She had blonde curly hair and purple eyes. Cleo thought over this for a moment. I think you're talking about Leia, she said. Cleo got out a small seashell from her bag, then opened it to a picture of herself, Leia, Skipper, and Skye. Mermaid purse. It had been taken a while ago, so she hoped Leia would be recognisable. Do you mean her? Asked Cleo, pointing to Leia. Flame looked, then said, Yeah, that's her. Leia is Princess of Oceania, explained Cleo. Flame nodded. Princess? Cool. I think you should be more in awe that the first person you bump into is, like, the Princess of Oceania. Also, there was a Star Wars joke at the end there, but I actually realised what copyright was, and I was like, if I ever publish this, better move that one out there. Chapter 6. Leia swam to the royal palace. She sighed. There's a lot of sighing, too, that is like, what are they sighing at? It's never explained. Leia just does a lot of sighing. Is she like a really miserable person? I don't even know. She swam up towards the Queen. Leia, said the Queen. Leia curtsied. Hi, Mum. Anything in particular you wanted me for? Asked Leia. No, said Leia's mum. Also, the fact that she's princess could have like a big reveal. I wasn't bothered. And there is like climactic, anti-climax. Like, is this meant to be a reveal or not? I don't know. No, says Leia's mother. I haven't seen you in a while, is all. She came and hugged her daughter. Cleo swam up to Leia. Hi, she said to Leia. Then she turned to the Queen. Cleo bobbed her head hurriedly. I haven't seen you in a while, Your Majesty. Welcome back. Oh, and I'm sorry to sort of, butt in. Welcome back to the Queen? To what? The Queen smiled. It's okay, Cleo. Continue talking to Leia. Cleo smiled at Leia. A family have moved into that beach house that was for sale. Oh, said Leia. Okay, go on. Cleo went on. Well, they're having a barbecue on the beach, and you're invited. That's the wrong... Yeah! Skye and Skipper and me are coming too. Leia frowned at this and looked at her tail. But won't it be really easy for our legs to get wet and someone see our tails? Cleo pulled Leia's head up. Yes, but that's the best bit. We're having it in that big cave. You know, the one with the big lip that juts out into the ocean. It would be hard for the waves to get up there. And if they did, no one would see. Cleo's face leered. Ugh! Leia's face cleared. Okay, if you're sure, I'll come. It was the perfect day for a barbecue. The sun was bright and hot as the five of them strolled onto the beach. Down the beach. River was having trouble with the barbecue, which the girls had given him to carry, and Skipper had to help him. Skipper had been the only boy in the group and was glad of River's company. In no time they were in the big cave with the lovely lip that jutted out about 15 inches into the ocean. I had no idea how big 15 inches was, I was just guessing. Where's Leia? Asked Cleo, looking around for her. She said she'd catch up with us, said Flame. Leia swam to a rock and turned into a human. She stumbled over onto the sand. Ow! She squeaked. Has it really been that long? So Leia, instead of walking, swam to the cave. There was a splash of water just below the big lip, and five friends ran to see what it was. To their great surprise, Leia hoisted herself up onto the smooth rock. Leia looked at them and then laughed. I knew this wasn't the way you were expecting me to arrive, but, well... She grabbed the nearest towel and dried off her tail. It slowly transformed into her legs. She got up and ran around the cave. I haven't run in such a long time. What are they all, meant to be wearing? Do they, turn... When they dry, their tails, do their clothes turn back into the last thing that they were wearing? And if so, how long has it been since Leia was on land? Did she transform back into her legs and she's wearing, 5-year-old's clothing? Or does it, These are questions that need to be answered. I haven't run in such a long time. Then she stumbled into River and knocked him over. Ooh la la. Oh, she said, sorry. Haven't had legs that long, huh? Let me help you, Leia. Come on, laughed Sky. She helped Leia onto her feet. The friends had the friends. I had no idea how to put them together. The group? The peeps? The characters? Eating burgers and hot dogs and chicken that Skipper cooked on the barbecue. I'm so hungry. Who wants to play Truth or Dare? Shouted Sky. I do, shouted 5 happy voices. There must have been one that was like, nah. Cleo was eating 4 chicken wings, a dare from Flame. You can do it! Cheered Leia. Like at the same time, I could eat 4 chicken wings. That's not hard. Cleo got the wings down and lay back on the stony warm floor laughing. You can do the next dare, Sky. So, said Sky, River, truth or dare? Truth after that, laughed River. Sky asked the dreaded question. River looked at everybody, then at his feet, before whispering, Leia. Leia smiled, and the game went on. But even if Leia didn't think much about it, River never forgot that day. So, welcome to the introduction of the the villains. This is the last chapter I'm going to be reading because it's like, rounding it out, it's halfway to 17, which is the amount of chapters there is in this book. So, our villains are called Professor Evelyn and Professor Catherine Bishop, although in the rest of the book they're called Gabriella and Gwendolyn. But basically, I changed the names to something more realistic because Gabriella and Gwendolyn was just like, no thanks. But I apparently only managed to change it there. So for the rest of the book, they're called their original names, so. The friends stayed in that little cave by the ocean till sunset, and Flame fell asleep on the lip with her silver tail hanging off the edge. 2 very unfriendly people saw her. Professor Gabriella and Professor Gwendolyn Bishop had been trying to prove the existence of mermaids for a long time, and this was how they were going to do it. Professor Gabriella grabbed her camera and ran as close as she could without Flame or anyone seeing. Finally, our theory will be proven, smiled Gabriella. Gwendolyn laughed, taking as many photos as she could. Cleo looked up from packing away the barbecue and saw them taking photos. Then she saw Flame's tail and realised what was happening. Flame! She shouted, pushing Flame off the lip and into the water. She too tripped and her orangey tail appeared. Even though she'd pushed Flame off the lip, the sisters had gotten her picture. I call them the sisters for the rest of the book, and it's so irritating. The sisters had gotten their pictures. What are we going to do? Asked Skipper, who'd also spotted them, but done nothing. Cleo, Leia and River looked worriedly at Flame. I really don't know, said Flame. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want me to actually continue this, meaning if you want a part 2, then please give this video a big thumbs up or a little thumbs up, depending on the size of your thumbs. Also, comment down below if you remember writing any like embarrassing books when you were younger, or what you think of this book. Pretty bad, right? I'm glad I've got better. And I know what the right use of yaw is. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. See you later!